Welcome to the Business Resource Open House. Let's welcome your host, Jennifer Ness Tucker.
I believe. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are super excited. Many of you know this is not the first Business Resource Open House. I believe it's the second one that we've done virtually. We are super duper excited to welcome you all to the business of community. Before we leave here today, you will have a different definition of community, okay? So for those of you that are inside the Zoom, please, please, please type in the chat what community means to you. Community, maybe one word or two. What does that mean to you? And for those of you that are on Facebook Live, on all the different channels that we are broadcasting, type in your Facebook, what does community mean to you? One or two words. What is community? For me, it's a sense of belonging, okay? And so for today, by the time you leave, hopefully your definition will be one that is positive and that will be restored and renewed. So this is going to be an amazing broadcast. So get ready for some amazingness, okay? The whole theme for today, I don't want you to forget it. It's the business of community. We are pretty much tired of transactional economies, right? We want something that's more relational. We want to build this community here in Washington amongst all of us, not just in Seattle, not just in King County, but in the entire state and also the entire world. And we're going to do that today in a way that some of you have never experienced. So I'm super duper excited to introduce some of our interpreters. Yes, this thing is live streamed with 4 different languages, okay? So let me introduce our interpreters first. I want to introduce you to our Chinese interpreter. We have Lillian Young. Introduce yourself, Lillian. Thank you so much, Lillian. If you speak Chinese, if Chinese is your primary language, if you would like to hear this presentation in Chinese, go to the Chinese channel below, okay? Next, we have Vietnamese, and we have Levine Tran. Introduce yourself, Levine. Thank you so much, Levin. If you speak Vietnamese, if you'd like to hear this presentation in Vietnamese, please choose the Vietnamese channel below. Thank you. Next, we have Spanish, and we have Iris Viveros. Hi, Iris. Introduce yourself.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Iris Viveros y estoy muy emocionada de estar aquí con ustedes en esta reunión para hablar de la importancia de la comunidad en los negocios. Si ustedes...
Iris, this is John. I just turned on your interpretation. Can you go back to the English channel?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Iris. I understood that un poquito. Of all the languages, that's the only one that I can understand. Un poquito. Okay. The next language we have is Amharic. Okay. And we have Fitsum Barum. Hi, Fitsum. Could you introduce yourself, please? Thank you so much, Fitsum. Now, if you speak Amharic, please, please, please join us on the Amharic channel below. The amazing part about this is you can stay on the English channel if English is your preferred language, or you can go to any of our Chinese, Vietnamese, Spanish, or Amharic. I hope I'm saying that right because I'm new to that language as well. And I'm sorry. Oh, you went to the channel. Thank you so much. Now, before we get started, I have to introduce you to two amazing folks. I've been knowing these folks for quite some time. They are doing amazing things in our community. And the way I define community is just a sense of belonging, a place where you feel like, okay, I'm getting what I need and I'm giving at the same time. And so these two folks are amazing to me, okay, on all different levels. And so I want to introduce you guys to both Angela and Jay, and then we're going to kick off the show. So welcome, Angela and Jay.
Hello everyone out there. This is really exciting. We're about to dig into what is community, and I'm excited about that. I'm the director of the Beacon Business Alliance and do community-based outreach and development work in Southeast Seattle, and have been working with Jay and everyone here in preparation for this event today, and I'm just really excited. Make sure you, as I was saying, make sure you put stuff in the chat, any of your questions, so that we can bring them to the speakers, the panelists today. Welcome, everyone. Jay?
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jay Lyman. I'm a librarian with Seattle Public Library. I just want to welcome you all here today. I know you're going to get a lot out of this program today, and hopefully you leave here with some connections to some of the amazing folks that are going to be talking today and sharing their work. And for me, you know, community, when I think about that word community, it's a place where I can, without reservation, ask for help and offer help, and, you know, and not feel bad or, you know, negative about either one of those things. That's an important part of community, is like asking and offering and for help as we go.
Thank you for that, Jay. I appreciate that, both Angela and Jay. Appreciate you all. We're coming back to Angela and Jay later. I just wanted to really introduce you to them because they are the reason why this program is taking place. They've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. Somebody may need to mute because I hear some tap, 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 tap. But I do want to say this, guys, we are live. This information that's going to be shared today is going to touch a lot of people. So make sure you are sharing this live stream amongst all of your audiences. We're live in 3 different groups right now, but let's make sure that the folks who need this information gets it, because this business resource open house is going to give you access to people, opportunities, and really relational economics, okay? So I'm just going to read the chat a little bit. Some of you have already responded. For those of you that have not, please do so. What does community mean to you in 2 words or less? So I see in the chat boxes, community means home. I love that. Community means family. Community means helping each other. I know Jay said community means asking for help and giving help freely. That's what community means to him. Community means togetherness and unity. Thank you for that. Community means power and purpose. Thank you for that. Somebody said community means survival. Wow. Community means to me working together as a family to succeed in changing life for the better. I love that. Somebody said community means relationships, mutual understanding and respect. Love that, okay? Community means connection, grounded in love. I love that. Community means inclusion. Love it. All right. So we're hearing from all of you, purpose and belonging. So I want to make sure our next guest that I need to introduce, who's amazing in the work you've probably already seen if you've been taking advantage of these business resource open houses, is Mari. Mari, would you please come on screen? Look at her. This woman is amazing, okay? Mari Shabuya. Mari, can you please let them know what you're going to be doing for us today?
Oh, thank you for that kindness and that introduction, Jennifer Ness. So today, as folks, we got to meet all the different languages that this cast is going to be, this amazing, valuable information is going to be interpreted into, and I posit that I will be here translating things into a visual language. I come to y'all as a graphic recorder and artist, and will be listening deeply to the conversation today and translating some of that into some visuals as well as some key phrases so we can kind of have a roadmap of where we've been as a community collectively. And I'm very excited to be with y'all.
I love it. That's one more language. Visual, right? This is pretty amazing, okay? I am so excited. I'm telling you, when I first logged into this business resource open house a few months ago, and I saw all the languages, and I'm gonna be honest, I only speak one language, and I don't know, sometimes I'm ashamed of that. I feel like I'm old enough, I should have at least learned one more language by now, but I only speak one language. But I love the fact that we have all these languages, because what does that say? That says community. That says community in at least 5 languages. So that's amazing to me, because we are showing and proving exactly what we want here, the business of community. No more transactions. We want relational economics, okay? So I'm gonna turn it over to John Chin. He's our producer today. He has a little bit of housekeeping stuff that he wants to go over before we get started with the program. So I'm gonna turn it over to, thank you, Angela. Listen, y'all better light up this chat box, okay? Because this is interactive. That's the reason why we didn't just record this and show it to you. It's interactive, okay? So let me turn it over to John for a moment, then we'll come back to the program.
Excellent. Thank you, Jennifer Ness. Hey, my name is John Chen. I am your Zoom producer here, and I've got a few things here if you're hanging out here with us in Zoom to make this experience better. Number one is, hey, start your camera. We are set up in a meeting so that we can be more inclusive with you. If you have the opportunity, go ahead, turn on your camera. We would love to see you. All of our speakers want to see your reaction so that we can answer your questions. So feel free to turn on your camera if you're in a place that you can do so. The next one is this. Today, for the first time, thank you, I believe working with Jay Lyman from the Seattle Public Libraries, we have Bobby here, and we have live captioning, not automated generated captioning, live captioning. And again, so if you are hearing challenge, this is a place you are now getting 100% captions that are correct. You just hit live transcriptions, and you can either hide or show the subtitles to see those. So that is another language that we are speaking here too, Jennifer Ness. Thank you so much for that. And by the way, Jennifer Ness has her own language of energy. If you haven't figured it out as an MC, watch Jennifer Ness go to work through this whole program. The next one is, if we do have a few slides here, you can use side-by-side speaker. I actually believe most of our pieces are in panel, which is great, but there will be a video coming up. You can either run that in standard if you only want to see the video, or side-by-side speaker if you want to see the video and the speaker during the other parts that we have. Okay, the next piece here is chat. So Jennifer Ness is right, and to light up the chat. And here, I'll give you a few chat suggestions, which is use people's names, right? So Jennifer Ness, that's a name. Jennifer Ness loves the chat, by the way. So if you put something in there, she's going to read it out, and she's going to figure out who you are. And that's part of, you know, why she's a great MC. Chat questions. This is a place to get your questions answered. In fact, I would love you to chat your first question here, which is, what business or what business question would you like answered? Even if you are here as a speaker, we'd love to hear what business challenges are you seeing and facing now? Because that's what we want to do during this 90 minutes is answer your questions. You know, quote the speakers. If a speaker gives a great quote, re-quote it. That's a great way to support our speakers and saying, that hit with me, that really really resonated with me. You can also chat links. There are so many smart people here with big networks. They have lots of resources. If you hear something and you're like, I got something that can help, chat a link, right? You can also, of course, be funny here and chat anytime. You can have that sidebar conversations too. I'll make sure that the private chat is on. You can actually make relationships here with other people or speakers. They want to meet with you, and this is one of the ways that we connect. Great, so we look forward to those questions. The next part here is engage and interact with every attendee. This is, hey, if you want this virtual meeting to be engaging, we need you to engage. So that can be turning on their camera or chatting or doing whatever that we like. All that we can tell is we want this meeting to be different because you are here. And last but not least, if you want to ask a question at any time, just go to reactions and click raise hands. And we will look for times that we can bring you up and you can ask your question or you can just chat it if you would like not to be seen on camera. Last but not least too, there's new emoji icons here. Oh my gosh, we showed these to Jenna Finesse and you can chat any emoji, right? There's like hundreds and thousands of emojis. Feel free to do that at any time because Jenna Finesse loves that. All right, Jenna Finesse, we're coming back to you.
Listen, y'all see my eyeball emojis? I'm like, I see John standing up and stuff. I want to stand up too. I look cute today. Hold on. Hey, I don't have this big old green screen he has, but I'm excited because today is what? June 15th. For those of you that don't know what that means or how or why this is significant, we changed the theme. Well, we didn't change it. We incorporated, okay? This is the business of community. We incorporated Juneteenth into this program, okay? So for those of you that don't know, let me get my chair again, okay? I just was like, hold on, he's showing up and showing out, standing up and got all this stuff going on. I'm like, man, I want that too. But I'm gonna be like John one day when I grow up, okay? Listen, I need to slow down because we do have interpreters. And those of you that know me know that my mouth can do this, okay? So that is a reminder to me, but it's also a reminder to our panelists, okay? So if y'all see me going too fast or getting too hyped, because I can get real hyped, just be like, girl, slow down, okay? Just slow down. That's our sign language today. We don't have an American Sign Language interpreter, but we will have that because we know that that is necessary too. But just tell me, slow down. That's our key right now. Okay, so I'm gonna slow down. Anyways, listen, we have the business of community and we have Juneteenth. And this is a serious matter. So I do want to get serious right now. But I will say that Juneteenth is an amazing opportunity for us and everybody. And it's really something that we all should celebrate. I know the state of Washington is celebrating Juneteenth starting in 2022. That's super exciting to me as a Black woman, but also to everybody. So I just want to share this quick video with you all for those of you that don't know or aren't familiar with what Juneteenth is, and then we'll go into our panel discussion. So let's share the video.
Juneteenth is a deeply emotional moment for enslaved people because for decades, for centuries, enslaved people prayed for, hoped for, fought for in the form of slave rebellions, running away, bought their freedom when they could. And if you read slave narratives, if you listen to spirituals from the era of slavery, you know that enslaved people longed for freedom. This was something that had been hoped for, but many believe may never come.
Well, the master promised to give me $40 a month in Fed. Well, lots of the boys say they ain't want it. They rather go free, you know.
Being able to go wherever they wanted, being able to wonder about. For enslaved people, it was an expression of their freedom.
Well, that photo was the one that long missed photo, one of our white folks made. He come along, we all sitting on the fence, and the colored soldier come along and asked her did she want to go with him. And she said yes, she mounted one of them horses. She went on with them. I never did see her and hear tell of her no more.
When I think about Juneteenth, I think about it in the context of Emancipation Day celebrations that began January 1, 1863. They took on a whole new meaning when slavery was formally abolished after 1865. You would have had African-American veterans who fought in the Civil War be prominent in these celebrations, dressed in their military garb, speeches from enslaved people, the most prominent Black politicians singing of hymns, spirituals, discussions of registering to vote. Enslaved people celebrating in public their newfound freedom was an act of resistance. Because we have to remember, slavery came to an end after a 4 years bloody Civil War. Still the bloodiest conflict in American history. Many people in the South and in the nation who did not want to see slavery abolished fought tooth and nail to block the 13th Amendment. The abolition of slavery created a huge humanitarian crisis in the South. Suddenly 4 million people have very little means to take care of themselves, to support themselves, and do so in a really hostile environment. So the military was necessary to make sure that enslaved people got the food, the medicine, the shelter that they needed in order to survive. They're also there to protect, to the extent that that was possible, freed people from violence, from recriminations, from slaveholders, from Confederates who still hadn't given up the fight.
And I remember when the Yankees stopped here, and the Yankees stopped right on the corner of Square, and they prosecuting people, you know. We go to the ground team, and they take them, hang them over the slum. That's the punishment they got. Next time you see, they come a whole troop of Yankees, all riding horses. Guns hanging on. And I said, Mama, where are they going? They're all going home now.
When the last federal troops leave the South, it's a signal to Southerners. The federal government wasn't going to put its might into ensuring the civil rights of Black people would be observed. You have 20, 30 years later, Black people being lynched in public, and there isn't a federal anti-lynching law to protect them. In most communities in America, there's a history of lynching and racial violence, and very few communities have marked that, commemorated that. Every decade since the end of slavery, Black people have been more educated, accrued more wealth, more status in American society. Every decade since 1865. But there's been one constant, and that constant is the presence of random racist violence. What I see in George Floyd's murder was a white police officer attempting to dominate and to subdue a Black man who was not resisting, who could not resist. Even though slavery came to an end in 1865, the desire to master and dominate Black bodies did not. And we have never dealt with that. These are the kinds of stark realities that are highlighted during Juneteenth. If Black people's lives can be expunged through racist violence and no one is held accountable, how free are we? Are we free?
Listen, I don't want to just move into our program after watching something like that, because I know that oftentimes when we see this reality, and this is a reality, it can trigger different things in us. And it can also cause us to have certain thoughts and feelings. So as a result of that, I just want to give a moment. I think too often we become entertained and desensitized to our history, and therefore we repeat it and we deem that it's not important or real. But this is real. This is not just real for Black folks, but this is real for all of us, okay? And so I brought about Juneteenth for a reason, because there has been traditionally inequitable distribution of education and wealth and status, and especially when it comes to entrepreneurship. And so today we recognize that. And in community together, we're going to recognize that. And we're going to speak to that, speak to those differences, and speak to that inequitable distribution, right? And how we as a people can try to, facilitate better community despite all of this, all right? So listen, let's move on to our panelists. I saw Michael chatting it up in the chat box, and I appreciate that. And I want to encourage you all to do the same thing. Even you guys that are on social media watching this right now, I want you to come and definitely chat it up, because guess what? John can see those things and he can bring them into the live. If you are interested in connecting with the folks that are around the room today, you can definitely join us on Zoom, because there will be a point where we will have breakout rooms. And in those breakout rooms, we will be having conversations and building this community, right? Through relationships and sharing our contact information, so that this is just not a one-time thing, but that this will actually move your business forward, all right? So we're gonna move on to our panel discussion. We have some amazing folks, some amazing things in store for you. We have Michael Magali. He is with the Mayor's Office of Small Business Advisory Committee. And he also has Indie.biz, which is a blogosphere and promotional space for individuals. He will introduce himself in a moment. We also have Sarah So. Sarah's with the Ally League. She promotes Black-owned businesses and safe space conversations about allyship for white people and non-Black people, right? So that's Sarah So. Then we have Tina Boyd. She's with the Port of Seattle. She's with the Duwamish River Community Equity-Based Projects and Programming. Then we also have Alex Rose. Alex is with the arts community. She works with creative economy and promotions for the Mixers and Business Development Program. So we have these amazing people that are here with us now. Did I miss anybody? No, I didn't miss anybody. All right. So we're going to go from here. So the first question I have for our panelists, no, before I ask my questions, let me give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves. You all know that you have 60 seconds. And at 60 seconds, I'm gonna yank your mic, okay? I'm just gonna mute you because that's what we do over here at the Business Resource Open House. You talk too much, you get muted, okay? No, I'm just kidding, but we got 60 seconds. We're gonna introduce ourselves and then we'll go right into the questions. Guys, if you have questions for our panelists, please put them in the chat box and I'll make sure that we get to them. So first I'll turn it over to Michael. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Michael, you can go last, okay? So Tina, let's hear from Tina first.
First here. Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Tina Boyd. I'm with the Port of Seattle. I've been there for 25 years, and I say about 12, 13, 14 years I've been in this WIMBY program. That's Women Minority Businesses. And I work in a department called Diversity and Contracting, where we help businesses get contracts with the Port of Seattle. Oh, I still got time. I am primarily responsible for outreach. And if any of you have attended our training events, I hold what we call Port Gens. And you can find out about many of our events at www.portseattle.org, and I'll make sure that gets into the chat. And I don't want to take a whole lot of time explaining that, so.
Thank you for that, Tina. 25 years, you must really like that.
I know, yeah, I'm old.
I would say you seasoned, how about that?
Oh.
Thank you so much.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, we appreciate you being here. Alex, tell us about yourself and what you're doing at the City of Seattle.
Good morning. Thanks, Jennifer Ness. My name is Alex Rose. I work across a couple different teams. So you can think about it as arts and culture, film and music, creative industries. And I get to support the Seattle Music Commission, which is a group of volunteers who advise the city on support of the music community and the music industry. I also support young people as they're entering into creative careers through things like internships, career days. And you mentioned the Mixer. That's a monthly event that I host and produce that is really about bringing the creative community together to connect with resources, connect with each other, and really in service of building those business skills, you know, tapping into critical knowledge for career success.
Okay.
So thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. All right, Sarah.
Yes, I am co-founder of the Ally League, and last year my friend Keisha and I were inspired to start this business because we recognize that a lot of people are becoming aware of the problems of systemic racism but aren't sure what to do about it. And so our mission is to move people from that empathy to action. So the first thing we did was launch Black Boxes, which are gift boxes curated to contain items from Black-owned businesses. And we are also developing a membership program that will help educate allies on what they can do differently to help the Black community, but also other marginalized communities. So we've not owned a business before, and we are learning a lot as we go. So I'm happy to speak to those experiences and also our mission today. So thank you for having me. And
thank you.
Keisha had a conflict, otherwise she would be here, but I'm trying to represent both of us.
You represent well. You're good.
Thank you.
You are good. And Michael.
Thank you, Jennifer Ness. Yes, I'm Michael McGalley. I am an entrepreneur. I'm actually no longer, so I just completed 3 years on the Mayor's Small Business Advisory Council. I'm not actually doing that anymore, but I am the founder of Indie.biz, which unfortunately, if you go to Indie.biz today, we're doing some, we're restructuring the platform. So it's actually, that is on hold, but I am an entrepreneur here in town and I mentor, I do a lot of mentorship. And then I also teach entrepreneurial marketing at Foster at the UW. So I'm really happy to be here and looking forward to getting into the program today.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. Listen, we only have a few minutes. This is meant to just be an introduction. Again, we will have time at the end for you guys to talk directly with these folks in our breakout rooms. But I do have some questions, and I saw a question that came up. I have some questions myself, but I'd rather ask the audience questions. So there's a question for you first, Tina, and we just putting you right on the hot seat. So the question is, what percentage of Washington State is African American? And also, as far as contracting, maybe because you're for the Port of Seattle, maybe they're talking about contracting with the port. What percentage of your contracting goes to African American businesses? And you're on mute right now, so you can unmute.
Okay, so the data, because I used to be involved in our data a little bit more closely, but I will tell you this. I would say our African American numbers are the lowest of all our ethnicities.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you, it's under 3%. It was around, I don't have a report.
Well, Dominique put in 3.7%. So let's just say it's 3.7%.
No, under that.
Under that, okay.
Under that. Yeah, I can't recall it being over 3% since. Now, I've been involved in the program since 2004. So let's just say under 3%. And then I would say our next area would be Native American. Hispanic is doing pretty good.
Okay.
As far as ethnicity groups, so.
And I'm sure Asian is up there.
Yes. Yeah.
There was a question that came into me privately that says, what is the average value of a contract with the port?
That came, I do not know that because they vary. That we would have to have, our central procurement office would have to do a deep dive and have a consultant do that, because we were asked to do that years ago and they never did the work.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't give you that answer either.
Okay.
Sorry.
But what I will say is this, what I've noticed with a lot of the reports that I'm reading and the data that I'm seeing, I know oftentimes us as Black folks, we ain't checking no boxes. And that's just period, right? So when it comes down to you trying to look at demographics and trying to identify who we are, sometimes we think that information is going to be used against us. So we're not necessarily checking the box when it says, what's your ethnicity? We may put we may decide not to check it. So this is an opportunity for us as Black people to be counted, right? To understand that there's a reason why that box needs to be checked. So we can understand, who are we serving? So if we can start there with the mindset shift of the reason why we check boxes, the reason why we need to be counted. So I'll just say that from my perspective. Go ahead, Tina.
Right, and what we do is we set aspirational goals on projects. So what we're trying to do is have the project managers, have the staff we have what we call vendor, and I don't want to take too much time of it, but we have a system called Vendor Connect. And that's where you go and you can put your ethnicity in there. And so when we're setting these goals, we set WIMBY goals, and that's based too on your certifications and your, and that's what we're hoping to accomplish when we put the goals on the projects. So if possible, put your ethnicity on there so we know, just like I gave you the number of minority contracts, we're under 3%. So we can go and set more project goals. I know our director, our aviation director, he is adamant about putting more of our federal projects, which are DVEs. Every project has to go past his desk so he can look at it and say, no, we're going to go seek federal dollars so we can break this apart for more WIMBY and DBE firms. So that never used to happen years ago. And I've been around a long time. So he's supportive of this program. And like I said, I don't want to take too much time about that.
Well, I appreciate you, Tina. And I will say this, a lot of the questions in the chat box is for you. So if you can take the opportunity to answer those in the chat box, that would be great.
Okay.
Also, guys, Tina will be here to chat with you live during the breakout. But I see everybody is on your neck, Tina, like, wait, hold up. What's this? What's that?
So, data out and brought my reports. This was supposed to be here.
I will say that. Lawrence was supposed to be here. Tina graciously accepted after he bowed out. So I will give you grace, Tina. But please go to the chat box and answer some of those questions. I have a question for Alex, and also Michael and Sarah, if you could jump in on this too. I want to know, what are you seeing as the biggest challenges for people of color, you know, within the organization, especially during COVID? We see that a lot of things have been exposed at this time. So I just want to hear your opinion of that.
Sure, I'll go ahead and start. As you may know, our sector, the creative sector, was really hit very hard by the pandemic, with folks, you know, being unable to work. And the disparities that we knew existed before the pandemic have deepened. So we put out a report in 2019 on the creative economy here in Seattle, and some of the I guess, highlights from that are that there are great disparities within the creative industries. And I think that's not just limited to lower representation of people of color in a variety of jobs, but lower compensation as well. So, you know, this is a time when we have a chance to be more intentional about how and who we're supporting. And so, yeah, I think that the resiliency that we saw in the video is something that continues to this day. But it's something that also needs support from the government. As we saw, like in the video, the military was offering protection to recently freed enslaved people. So how can government do right by people by putting money out in the community? And yeah, I'll pause there.
Thank you,
Give
Alex.
someone else a chance to speak.
I appreciate that. You're right, though. Even though we're free, you still have folks mad at the fact that we free, that we are out here having a parade. What you mad at? You've been free. Why you mad because we free? Whew, okay. Michael, go ahead.
You know, I think that one of the things, you know, obviously there are systemic issues and you know, but I think one of the challenges that's there, and this is true for entrepreneurs in general, entrepreneurship has become something that's quite hereditary, in that people who have parents who were entrepreneurs are much more likely to become entrepreneurs, because they have, you know, and then of those people, actually people who worked in their parents' businesses or worked in a relative's business are much more likely. And so the culture of entrepreneurship, I think, is something that needs to be fostered. And that's one of the reasons that I really focus so much on mentorship, is because we have a narrative that this is really not for everyone, and that this is something that is only for, you know, sort of a select group of people who are sort of born entrepreneurs. And I think that that's really not true. And I think what's at stake with that is, you know, it's interesting when you talk about freedom and you know, that this is really, I think, a path to a kind of economic freedom, right? That is not just about prosperity, but is also about flourishing, is also about doing a kind of work that is satisfying more than just for its financial returns. So
totally agree with you, and thank you for that. As we're wrapping up, Sarah, please add to the conversation.
Yeah, I think I've had a lot of conversations recently about funding and the challenges with getting access to funds. And especially in the last year, when there have been so many public pledges to offer small business grants or money to Black-owned businesses in the Black community, there seems to be a disconnect of, you know, we're a Black-owned business, and the Black-owned businesses that we're talking to haven't experienced that downfall yet. And so connecting those dots about where is how do you access the funds that are being made available has been a challenge for people that, you know, are in small businesses trying to maintain their business function every day. So you kind of have to step outside of that to go figure out how are we going to get funding for it. And there's crowdfunding is increasingly popular because that takes advantage of audiences that you have built organically and may not be friends and family that have access to wealth, which is less common in the Black community. So I think the Black community in general is struggling to access the funds that have allegedly been made available for them.
Thank you for that. You just made a really good point. And you also brought back to my remembering the Black-owned business excellence. We've been in existence. We just had our second annual event this February. We have an event coming up on August 3rd, and I'll drop it in the chat box. But it's building your business through access to capital, but funding your business growth through alternative methods, not so much looking at, okay, I'm gonna go into the bank and they're gonna say no, and then I'm gonna go here or go there. So looking at alternative ways to fund your business. So I will drop the link in the chat box in just a moment, but please, please, please make sure that you are available for things like this because we're putting these on for you, helping you to fund your business growth through alternative methods is the absolute way to go because we cannot depend on this top-down approach because it ain't coming. And when it does come, by the time it gets to us, guess what? The money ain't there. So we're just being honest, we're just being real. And that is the reality that we've seen, especially during COVID. So access to capital, funding your business growth. This is through the Black-owned business excellence, and it is coming up on August 3rd. So I will drop that in the chat. Listen, I want to say thank you guys for being here on the panel. I know that was a short period of time. It went quicker than I thought it would, but I will say this, please continue to post your questions in the chat box because our panelists will remain and they will answer them through the chat box. And I will be sure to ping them if they don't answer it, because that's what we do. Like we crack that whip, okay? So, but we're gonna transition because we have another panel for you. So these are all the different resources that are available here today. It's a lot, it's a lot. So I'm gonna turn it over to Angela and Jay, and we're gonna go on to our second panel, but stay tuned, all right?
Wow, I was trying to get something in the chat there, and hi everyone. Yeah, this is I think really important that to lead with the video. I just can't wait to watch it again. Really, it's out there now. We have it in a live stream. It will be available on a YouTube channel. We'll share with everyone. I just want to make that point to say it's something that, you know, you watch once, but you gotta get into it again and absorb and really. It's like should be an annual or monthly meditation, really. So right now, I think we're doing really well on chat and the live streams. I'm not quite sure if people are watching that as well to track any questions. Jay, are we tracking that? Are you seeing that stuff?
I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing a lot of action in the chat, which is fantastic. So please keep that coming. Ask those questions.
I think the connections over content. That's a phrase that we keep bringing back, and that's what we're here for. So everyone in the chat, as I did just put in the chat, you know, forging pathways for BIPOC and small business entrepreneurs, these mentors, peer-to-peer, we're here together for that. I think of the other events we've done, I think when I come away afterward, I'm mostly concerned that people who are with us here and watching and in the live stream end up not actually getting connected to someone. So I just really want to make a statement about that. If you do have a question or if you do want to grab somebody one-to-one after this, make sure you put your information in and ask for follow-up. If you can do that for me, I'll feel like we'll have succeeded.
Yes, ask for help and offer help here today.
Each partner, each panelist, it's like tools in a toolkit. Each partner organization has unique strengths, capacity, an array of resources. So when we work together to serve, results can be awesome. That's why we're all here today.
I think we're ready to move to our next panel. Thank you, Angela, for that. That sets the space. Thank you. Welcome everyone to our second panel. We've got a number of folks that are going to share today. I'm gonna let each of you introduce yourselves. But we have Henry, Mujale, Ben, Shara, and Yvette, who are going to be talking about the work that they do. Henry, you want to start us off with a quick introduction of the work that you do, and then we'll move into just like what happened with Jennifer Ness, we'll move into our round of questions.
Yes, happy to. Thank you, Jay, and thank you everyone for putting this on. Hi, my name is Henry Wong, Director of the Food Business Resource Center and Special Projects at Business Impact Northwest. Business Impact Northwest is a nonprofit community development financial institution dedicated to serving underbanked entrepreneurs. We provide coaching, classes, access to capital to community small businesses, and we have an emphasis on working with traditionally underserved populations. So some of our specific focus areas are entrepreneurial low to moderate income earners, women-owned businesses, BIPOC, veterans, immigrants, or members of the LGBTQ+ community. And we've been serving the community since 1997. Our mission is growing businesses that create jobs in underserved communities with a vision that all business owners have an equal opportunity to succeed. And as far as kind of our service area, our loan department offers lending in Washington State and Oregon. And then we offer our business support services like training, coaching, and classes in Washington State, Oregon, Idaho, and Alaska. And we have various technical assistance program centers, including our Washington Women's Business Center, our Veterans Business Outreach Center, and our Food Business Resource Center. And I'll make sure to put all my contact info in the chat.
Thank you, Henry. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Mujali, you want to share some, you do a lot of different things, but thanks for being here, and hoping that you can share a little bit about your work.
Yeah, definitely. So for those of you that don't know, I have a background in visual arts. I started off as a painter, drawer, and then later in life, I became a teaching artist, teaching animation and visual arts as well. And then around 2015-16, co-founder of Black Dot. So and then also have had my own business, Outside Think, which deals with visual branding and content marketing. So all that has been to say that where I am in life is using those skills. So from creating pathways for youth, because I teach I've taught from elementary, kindergarten to now. I'm teaching high school. And so with that, some of the things I've been teaching is more around like media. So the common theme is like all around like visual branding, art, and then also making a commercial and creating pathways with film and video as well. So, and then all that deals with entrepreneurship as well. So we have it's a co-working space, but not only that, we help with like certification programs, master classes, work actually closely with Jennifer Ness. So yeah, just out there in the community and just trying to create pathways.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you. Thank you all. Ben, do you want to go next?
Yes, hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Ben Hahn. I'm with the City of Seattle Department of Transportation. I work in our public space management group, which looks at fun and creative ways to activate our public spaces in the city, primarily the streets, sidewalks, and our roads. Pre-pandemic times, I'm usually the one to go to if you have questions about how do you throw a block party. But over the last year or so, I've been really involved around COVID business and community recovery processes. And so our programs include our Safe Start permits, which are free permits that businesses can get for outdoor sidewalk cafes. If you're a retail business, you can have outdoor merch displays, expanding our vending opportunities and street closures to have activations of space outside. Really, my main interest is looking at rethinking our streets as places where people can hang out and build community. And so, wow, this timer is really useful. And that's all for me.
It sure is. Thanks for the timer, John. Appreciate it. Okay, Shara, you want to go next? Please share about the work you're doing.
Sure. Thank you, Jay. Happy to be here. Hi, everyone. My name is Shara Amlag, and I'm a business district advocate with the City of Seattle in the Office of Economic Development. And so within our department, I'm a part of the Only in Seattle team. And so what we do is we help fund business district partners and organizations like merchants associations, nonprofits that support economic development in their own neighborhoods, as well as the small businesses within them. And so especially this past year has definitely been focused on outreach and making sure that a lot of the federal, local, resources are available and reach the most marginalized, especially small businesses. And so we do a lot of coordination with our district partners, as well as the community liaisons that you see here to make sure that the small businesses know that and access these resources. Thank you, Jay.
Oh, thank you, Shara. And Yvette, please share about the work you're working on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jay, for allowing us to be here. So my name is Yvette Aguilera, and I'm actually a business specialist for El Centro de la Raza. I actually have a little bit of the background here of our Beacon Hill office. Specifically, I work for the Business Opportunity Center of El Centro de la Raza. We actually provide economic opportunities to underrepresented communities. I specifically work under entrepreneurship, helping to provide technical access and do a lot of one-on-one consulting work, as well as being kind of that community navigator to provide resources for entrepreneurs and be able to help them with different types of trainings under entrepreneurship. But we also have a different amount of programs, including a program for first-time home buyers, program that also includes job readiness for the youth, as well as helping with financial empowerment and financial literacy. So we have a lot of different programs that we do here at the Business Opportunity Center, and I'm happy to be here to answer any questions anyone has.
Thank you. And just a reminder to folks that are here in live in the Zoom meeting, please put your questions for our panelists in the chat, and I'll ask them out loud. And if we don't have time, they'll reply in the chat, or you can connect with them in the open house session afterwards. So just moving into our questions, let's just kind of go back around and I'll ask some questions and just reply quickly. Henry, what kind of barriers are you hearing people are that you are helping or are facing right now?
Yeah, so I've heard it mentioned a few times earlier today, but I think access to capital is always a barrier when we're talking about the business we work with. So as with Business Impact Northwest, we try to serve as that bridge between your traditional financing sources like banks and credit unions. So we definitely recognize that as a challenge and try to support in those efforts. And then I think COVID obviously has been a big barrier as far as pivoting your business. There's a lot of technology changes and really a lot of pivots online, moving to create an online presence. And so I think those are definitely can be some challenges as well. And then just accessing, not only accessing capital, but also access to resources in general, just knowing what's out there, who can help, and what services you can, as a small business owner, you can utilize.
Thank you. And so Mujali, are there like specific challenges you think entrepreneurs, particularly BIPOC entrepreneurs in our area, are facing? that you're seeing?
Yeah, just to second some of the things that Henry said, that COVID, where a lot of folks had to pivot, was was a really tough time. Getting online, I noticed some folks weren't really set up to be online, so trying to transition a lot of folks to online was something. Even folks that were used to like in-person connections a lot, it was hard for them to even transition to the Zoom. And with that, they couldn't like some of those meetings had to be around like helping them transition to like Zooms and getting used to being set up at home. Internet connections, where even some of my teaching classes where like now there's a different home dynamic. Some kids relied, or some even folks relied on like to be in a place where they could be where they had good internet connection, where they had all this set up, but now they have to be at home where they don't necessarily have that set up. That was tough for folks and roadblock. A lot of folks were either event-based, so when everything shut down, if you're used to having making a lot of your money vending, you now don't have that option anymore. So again, working around like how do we get folks certified and online and really get them onto, to get those that background they have, or the toolkit they need to really succeed. And I'll also start thinking about getting ahead of these type of things. So that was where we've been working, and that's where our mindset is like, how do we now not be so reactionary, but be like proactive.
Thank you, Majali. Ben, you talked a little bit already about Market Streets and that work. Are you hearing anything from the folks that you're working with, like feedback around that, that kind of ties to what Majali and Henry were talking about digital marketing and like how maybe like having Market Streets, how that ties into making folks aware?
Yeah, so for those that are not aware, one of the key issues I'm trying to tackle right now is that currently our vending code is limited to food and flower businesses to have sales outside on the street or in front of their business. And so I'm really trying to explore ways to allow for more outdoor vending to include retail stores, a lot of artists, makers, people with businesses based out of their homes, folks who may not necessarily have the means to be in a brick or mortar store currently. And so we're exploring pilots and permitting options to have more outdoor events outside. And so it's funny, we talk about digital marketing. I've been hearing a lot of the opposite of like, people are really hungry to get together right now, especially after being alone for so long. And so really trying to support a lot of community events, opportunities for block parties to happen where there can be places to build community, but also support small businesses and vendors as well. And so I guess in response, it's like we've had a lot of interest in getting together, and we've been supporting events. I think last week there was an event in Columbia City celebrating Prince. And then this weekend we have events happening in Lake City, and we're also having a Juneteenth event on Saturday in Columbia City as well, really trying to focus on BIPOC vendors to come out and not just have support their businesses, but opportunities to build community within these neighborhoods as well. And Beacon Hill is definitely a neighborhood where I would love to support more of this activation as well.
Thank you. Shara, I want to go ask you this question. What do you think are, like, how do the needs of our business owners change in a relationship versus a transactional economy?
I'm so glad you asked me this one. I love the question. And, I think that I would love our small businesses definitely to be able to answer that. I think that's a question that I have not heard in any survey about what their small business needs would be. I am a small business owner myself, so I can talk for myself in terms of what that means. I think especially in the capitalistic society that we're in, it's definitely, there is a transaction there, and that's, I think we can't get around that at this point, but what we can do is deepen, right, those relationships. And I think that if we start moving towards like a relational type of economy, then it means that you actually have to take the time to understand the people behind the transaction that you are making. And that takes time, and that takes effort, that takes due diligence. I'm sorry, I can't do this in 1 minute. And it also means that we have to understand what true accessibility means, because in any relationship, there's communication, and there's there's all these different factors that you have to think about. And so the very the language, the access to language in this particular open house that we're all going through right now is one example of the importance of being able to see people and not just assume things, that they can easily access things. And so I think part of that relational building is really digging deep and seeing like, what are ways that we can build trust? How do we really get to know each other? What are ways that we can truly break down communication barriers, whether it's through language or all the different things that this open house is trying to do right now? So it just takes a deeper level of investing in really understanding where your money is going.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Shara. And I guess I'll take a moment to share my not so secret agenda for this program too. Is also that all of these amazing people that are here are getting to know each other, as part of these panels and in the open house that's coming later too. So building relationships amongst each other is also helpful for our end users, our businesses. Yvette, I want to ask, how does your work at the Business Opportunity Center, how does that tie to relationships, like Shara was talking about, and maybe responding to Ben's question, or Ben's talking about the activation of the plaza there at El Centro.
Yeah, of course. So I think that one main thing that we like to see ourselves at El Centro de la Raza is that we're connectors, we're community connectors to be able to provide resources for small businesses and be able to introduce them to other resources as well. So I think that that's part of our duty, is to be able to see what kinds of resources are there out there and how can we connect them to our own businesses, and how can we create these types of events for them to be able to kind of align for one another. I think when you're able to kind of have those moments and have those events, most of them are virtual, but having those events that actually have different entrepreneurs talk about their problems and help one another, I think that's one way that we've actually been really helping out to create that entrepreneurship relationship within one another. I know that I'm going to be past the 10 seconds, I'm so sorry, but I just had one training yesterday from our entrepreneurship classes where all of them were from the same industry, and they were talking about their different problems that they had and how to share advice from one another. So I think it's creating those types of events where you're able to kind of share types of tips and resources and not see each other as competition, but as finding a way to really help one another, which I think is really great.
Yeah, I think that perspective changes everything. In building relationships amongst businesses, that helps us think about like our work with our consumers as well too. So Henry, kind of shifting the conversation a little bit, but in your work with food entrepreneurs, like how is innovation playing a role in a post-COVID economy? Like, are you seeing examples of innovation in that space that you want to share?
Yeah, so some of the things that Ben and Shara were talking about, I think that, and Rajali, I think that shift online, you've seen a lot of innovation in just how businesses interact with customers, I think, and also touches on a little bit on that transactional versus relationship economy piece. It's like, when you go into that transaction economy that we kind of shifted to quickly, and then now I think people are wanting more relationships. But I think with the transactional piece, it's a lot harder to really develop those relationships with customers and have those interactions that you normally get from in person. You know, being able to read body language, being able to see emotions, hear feedback directly, and I think so shifting online, it makes that even harder. It makes it harder to develop relationships with customers and duplicate those in-person relationships we used to have. So just looking at farm businesses as an example, when they lost those farmers market and farm stand channels that were really important for the in-person interaction, you know, it was a totally different business model, having to shift that online and then trying to maintain those customer relationships, you know, seeing that same person at the market every week. How do you now make sure they get the service and experience that they had before in this new environment?
Thank you. Mujali, moving to you. I just wanted to ask, what resources are you looking for that would help you in your work?
Yeah, some of the resources would probably be like, well, we've had trainings on like PPP loans and things of that, but also like how to deal with like, I guess, bigger clients, like some of the contractors, I feel like they've had struggled with around, you know, just even reaching some of the requirements. So now, like, how do we take that a step further, even back a little bit and be like, all right, they have, folks are trying to get them these resources, but at the same time, like, are we set up for like, so we've come up with a certification process now, where now folks have to be like certified. But with that too, we need more of we need to work more with the actual like contractors or the folks that are looking for the service providers. So I'm looking for more resources on how do we now like establish that, be like, all right, in connection with our certification process and these service providers, like how do we bridge that gap more? So that's really what I would like, the main focus I'd focus on is like, again, having like the folks that are looking for like the port, being more connection with them. So that way we can actually work together to get folks certified on our end and actually get them in a place of success.
Thank you. And of course, if anyone here in the panel or other panels or in the audience has ideas for Mujali, you know, please chat them or connect with Mujali in the open house portion too. Ben, I think you talked a little bit about the different industries that you're helping. Can you maybe share a little bit about? So it sounds like restaurants and maybe some retail. Is there other industries, or is that kind of the segment that
yeah, that's a great. So last year in 2020, we were definitely very focused around supporting food and restaurant businesses, but also recognizing that you know, outside of restaurants, there's also like the creative economies around artists and the makers of Seattle, also around like retail markets as well. But also recognizing that, you know, one big challenge that I know we've been facing is that a lot of our code is very clear for our brick and mortar businesses, but not so much our mobile vendors or smaller entrepreneurs as well. And so really trying to push the boundary around expanding these opportunities. You know, I think one thing just kind of I've been learning from this panel discussion so far, I'm just going to share what I've learned already, is that, you know, for me, I'm very much deep in the process of permit services. And in a way, that's a very transactional environment of you submitting this information for an allowance to do something. And, you know, there's a lot of problematic issues with that we can break down as well. But aside from that, I think really what I'm hoping is like I think one of the positive things I've seen is like being able to work with other departments within the city and try to bring together like the various teams, like working with OED, like Shara and the Only in Seattle team are amazing folks, work with Office of Arts and Culture with their ideas coming on board as well and activating public space. And I think again, like in SDOT, we're always thinking about how people move primarily to work, but what does it also mean for us to give more reasons to why people can safely travel, and like creating a culture, more of a neighborhood feel of how people walk and bike in Seattle as well.
Thank you.
And that's my LinkedIn in the chat. That's interesting. I can share my work email as well, which is probably a better way of reaching me. I'm terrible with LinkedIn.
Thank you, Ben. So we'll go to Shara, and I'm going to ask the same question to Yvette, and then we'll end this segment. Shara, can you kind of quickly tell us, like, what help you have to offer our businesses today in your work?
Yeah, I'd love to speak on in terms of all the resources that our department has, because it's very vast, and I only work within a small team. And so within the Office of Economic Development, there's the Stabilization Fund. I think I see my colleague Dominic Meeks in the room. You know, his team has been amazing in terms of taking, you know, what the demand of the amount of businesses that need the cash support is so vast, and the way that they were able to really try to insert kind of an equitable way, whether it's earmarking, and Alex Rose had a lot to do with this as well in terms of the creative team, earmarking a certain portion of that for creative industries, really trying to look at the outreach of how do we make sure that, you know, our equity districts and the businesses within that know about these funds. So that's the $10,000 lottery that the Stabilization Fund was able to provide small businesses. We also have a resource line that's staffed in multiple languages. You know, you leave a message and somebody would be able to go back and respond to your inquiry. One thing that we're trying to expand on that is an inclusive technical assistance cohort, where you can not just get directed to the right resources, but we have folks in language, some CLs, we're working with folks at the Lake City Collective. So there's a lot of, you know, private public partnerships happening within the department to ensure that all these resources that we're here and are going to continue to be coming, that those resources are accessible, as well as there's inclusive outreach happening so that our small businesses can access that. We're also working on resources around commercial affordability in lots of different ways. And so I would say to any small business, every neighborhood in Seattle has, not every, 17 neighborhoods within Seattle have a business district partners. And if they don't, oftentimes they have a BIA. So accessing those neighborhood organizations are often a way to also understand the resources that the city has. So, and then lastly, there's digital access programs that are happening. We've got awesome programs where youth are building websites for Black-owned businesses. So I'm going to stop there. There's a slew of resources. So I just want as many small businesses to access this as possible.
Thank you. Yeah, so over to you, Yvette. Same question. What help do you have to offer?
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jay. The majority of our programs right now at the Business Opportunity Center, they're targeted to the Latinx community. So one thing that we've noticed is that a lot of the resources, there's an abundant amount of resources, but they're not translated into Spanish. So what we've done is actually done things such as do a launch and grow entrepreneurship classes that are fully in Spanish, all free. I'm going to do a little bit of a plug-in. This is an 8-week class that we do for individuals, entrepreneurs who want to kind of create or expand their business fully in Spanish, and it starts July 19th. We also have a food incubator program. So if you guys ever go to the plaza, which you can see in the back here, you'll see that we have little stands, little carts for individuals who are interested in really pursuing a restaurant business or having their own type of food and service industry business. This program is kind of to help them have a baby step into having their own restaurant. So they're able to get a food cart there in the plaza. We also provide different types of accesses to and trainings to help individuals increase their credit score. So there's a lending program to help individuals actually be able to have that history with credit and understand really what credit is. Culturally, sometimes the Hispanic community, we may not know exactly what credit is and how do you establish credit. So I think this is something that really helps out a lot. And then finally, we have professional development classes all the way from the finance sector to technology sector as well. So those are a few of the programs that we have at Centro La Raza.
Thank you. Thank you. And so thank you to this panel. I appreciate all of everything that you've shared and your responses to our questions and things. So thanks for being here. We're going to move to our next segment, but stick around because we're going to have our open house coming up here soon too. So I think we're moving now. John, are we moving to Angela? It's going to talk really briefly about the Essential Southeast Seattle.
Yes.
Yes, I would like to say, well, we just launched a marketplace in response to what many of us have been talking about here today: digital equity, digital access. Different groups and small CBOs, community-based organizations in Southeast Seattle came together last March to address the issues. How are we going to support our small businesses in our neighborhoods, from Beacon Hill to Rainier Valley, Rainier Beach, to get in front of their customers? What is that virtual? Do they have a virtual presence? Do they need support around that? And we put up a directory for small businesses that were open to make sure that shoppers could see and have access to them. That now has evolved to the marketplace model, which DEI Creative, women-owned business here in Seattle, has created the support-local.com page that highlights the different e-commerce e-commerce platform websites that we have in Seattle now. A bunch of them going on: Ballard, Africatown, so now we are live as well, and that website is being shown right now. The very cool thing about it is small businesses in Southeast Seattle are able to come in for free and create a business profile, up to 10 photos, their own Venmo or PayPal options for selling product or services. This is not just about brick and mortar. This is also serving cultural artists, musicians who are live streaming their performances, entrepreneurs who are developing a skill set and a service. This is an option. Well, Africatown also, just to call out to that, which is the same platform, they are focused on Black-owned businesses statewide. So there's no regional kind of focus. So these are opportunities for BIPOC owned businesses, everyone, all small businesses in Southeast Seattle, for the Essential Southeast Seattle website. Well, I'll plug more of that into the chat so people can see. One little other piece I wanted to add: on that site, you'll see we're doing a cohort for small businesses that really need the language support Shara was talking about, and that we're working with the community liaisons here in this webinar, that we're going to be able to do specific outreach to language groups that may not have, that are farthest from opportunity, farthest from this digital equity place. So that is on the website. We are pulling together also on a page the toolkit partners that we're working with, who we're all in this together. We're doing work and supporting small businesses. And so now I really hope that we're going to deepen our relationship, not only through this webinar, this meeting that we're doing here live, but outside of that. So one-to-one, person-to-person, we're able to refer businesses to some of the folks here today, and that personal outreach that we're doing, I think, and also in language outreach is really key.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you.
Now I think we're moving forward to a next segment, right, where we're going to go to rooms, breakout rooms. The interpreters will, I believe, continue to support in the language channel. And if you've been able to check that out, you just go to if you're in the Zoom with us, you have the opportunity to jump to another channel and check that out. Then come back to English. The breakout rooms, I believe, John will speak to this to confirm that, we will go off live stream. So if you're with us here in the Zoom, you're going to be able to continue and participate in the breakout rooms and get more face-to-face with some of our great panelists.
Yes.
Back to Jennifer Ness. Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you so much, Angela and Jay. If you all have not joined, please go to Essential Seattle, essentialseattle.com. Also, we are transitioning to our breakout rooms. Check out this graphic. Look at Mari Shabuya. Look at that. At the end of that, you all will get this in your email just for being here. Look how awesome that is. She is amazing, okay? I speak this language. This is the language I speak, art, okay? This is pretty amazing. So listen, the breakout rooms will be open. You can go in and out. So if you decide you want to go here, ask a question, but maybe it's not popping like one breakout room might be, you can pop into the next one, right? And you can go and meet some more folks. The whole purpose of this, again, is to build community. This is the business of community during Juneteenth. So please join a breakout room. John is going to open those up for us. And
Jennifer Ness, will you help us do this? Let's wave goodbye to our Facebook Live audience.
Okay, let's do that. We thank you all I was on Facebook while the panel was going on. I was out there looking around. So we thank you all of our Facebook friends. We appreciate you. If you want to join us in the breakout room next time, pre-register so that you can be here to ask those tough questions. I know they had Lisa on the hot seat, okay? But if you want to make connections, please reach out to either Jay or Angela. If there's somebody here that you would like to get in touch with, get an email address, they'll be able to help you with that. So we're going to go ahead and wave bye to the live. See y'all later.
All right, our live stream is out. And again, if you are here too, if you have businesses or guests that speak any of our 5 languages here, make sure and invite them to the next open house. And now, Jennifer Ness, I do have us into 3 rooms. Number 1 will be all the members of panel 1. And actually, Jennifer Ness, I'm going to send you there to kind of help moderate. Panel 2 will be led by Jay and all the people in panel 2. So you'll go there. And then in the main room, Angela will be here talking more about the South Seattle Collective. And then we just check timing. Angela, how about 25 minutes? We'll come back and then we can do a little close. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Sounds wonderful.
Okay, and to change rooms, you can hit the breakout room control on the bottom and move rooms. And if you don't know how that works, just hit leave room. The blue button's on the bottom right. Leave room, leave breakout room. We'll see you back in 25 minutes and do the thing that we're talking about here in community, which is connect. We'll see you in 25 minutes.
Great, great. So, John, are you staying here too in the main room?
I'll stay here in the main room here with you. And also all the interpreters are here. So if you did want a foreign language, we can stay here. I am going to remove the spotlights though here. Let's remove all the spotlights. And now if you want to go into view gallery, you can see everyone who has a camera on. And then Angela, of course, you can share your screen if you want to walk through anything on the website.
Okay, I'll think about that. First, I really wanted to ask the interpreters what the experience was for this one. Now, I know that Lillian, Edis, and Levine have done multiple have done them all. We have actually, this is number 5. And so it's kind of exciting to have more opportunities, each time. So my question is, for those of you who have interpreted in these before, is it getting easier? And then the second question I have is for Fitsum, who's in for the first time. I'm just curious what it feels like for you as well. Can we do that?
Remember to come back to the English channel to answer, and then you can go back to your language channel. Yeah,
yes,
go ahead.
Fitsum. Oh,
Are you alone, Angela?
yeah.
Okay, well, I'll stay here. I was going to one.
And I think one other issue that we haven't totally worked out is making sure that we're on the English channel when we need to be on the English channel and switching back to our language channel. So just now, Fitsum, you were on the English channel and I could hear you just fine. But Iris, I think, right? So we all have to kind of remember that. I know that there's a little bit of a technical issue for the Facebook. I was hearing from people who are watching on the Facebook that they could not hear us. So John Channel, we'll work through that to make sure that we get it right next time. But that is another reason why we like to do a tech rehearsal first, and make sure. So in this room today, I'm sharing a little bit of the backstory, the behind the scenes with everyone who's in here with us, to understand that this is a team. This is teamwork. It takes a community to reach community. Or, maybe I can say it that way. It's like the work that we do when we come to this meeting early. The interpreters and the panelists are asked to come early. We are really trying to work through the tech questions to make sure we're able to connect. So Mari is doing has a projector screen and to show that visual communication. So, and you are here, the interpreters are here to try to capture the content and the concept, and not word for word necessarily, but to try to capture the content. So it's a brain spinning kind of. I think Fitsum, are experiencing that. So now, would anyone else, Levine, I see you're off mute. Lillian's off mute. Can one of you speak to how it is for you now?
Okay, let's try this. Thank you so much. Okay, Lillian, now we're back. So
yes, now when we're off the whole interpretations, then the interpreters were able to hear. So that's what Elise was saying when Visam was sharing that she couldn't hear. So this interpretation mode sometimes pretty tricky. We don't know who would be hearing us, but anyway, I think I really appreciate the captioning this time. It helps a lot because it gives me a little bit visual cues of what I might have missed or what I'm reading, if that's correctly. I feel like in-person interpretation sometimes easier. I don't know, maybe it's the sound that's happening, because in here I'm hearing myself really loud and hearing the voice. So it's like that overlapping. I don't know what I'm hearing. Am I hearing myself or hearing the interpreters? But that's something that I guess interpreters have to work out on their own to switch off the ear somehow in order to get it working. Otherwise, it's just so loud. Me hearing myself all the time, but not hearing the speakers.
Levine?
Actually, the same at Lillian, I like it because the caption on, but the problem that I also have because the caption is right in the middle. Sometimes, Angela, you switch from the one panel to another panel, so I just see when the people switch to talk and appear to that person, so it covers the caption, so I cannot see the caption very well. But beside that, because we have been to many panels before, so I kind of, earn a lot of experience. I sometimes focus on what the people talking and break a little bit and do talking what I'm, I have to translate it. But sometimes I mix in the middle because when I translate it and my eyes still need to read, and sometimes I miss the captain. But it's good when I talking, I'm reading and then continue talking what I just read. Very helpful.
Yeah, Lovey, you can try to click the caption box. You can move it around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can try. Click it and then drag it. You can move it around.
Yeah, that is true, Lillian. I know. Someone actually taught me. Here's the other one too.
Subtitle setting?
No, just the caption showing up on your screen. It's a black box, right, with white text or something. You can drag it,
medium, and large.
That's a really cool feature, Lillian. The second one here too is you can change the size of the captions. So if you look on the accessibility, so you go to settings on the very bottom, it says accessibility. I turn my captions all the way to the largest font. It's like 32. So it makes it easier for me to see. I have a big screen.
Okay.
So that's another tip there.
Iris, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think that, other times I felt a little overwhelmed with the amount of information and the amount of people talking. And I think that this time, I don't know if there were less people, but I feel that is good because it has, it's also good for the people who are in the meeting just to receive certain amount of information that is not so much overwhelmingly. And also I like the fact that it was timed because even though people went over, it sets the idea that, okay, now I'm over, like I'm going over time. I gotta like cut it or I gotta synchronize the information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. I don't know if it's my concussion that I'm better, but this time it was easier for me to translate, or it was a combination of things. And I like this format. I think it was good. Also more dynamic. The questions, it was good to have like questions to the panelists. So yeah.
We're starting after the first one last year in August. For those of you who weren't with us, we have new features like the captioning. All of these things really help the communication. And I just wanted to say that it's wonderful. We're talking about this here, I think, in this room. I feel like if we had a bunch of panelists or small business people here as well, it would still be beneficial for everyone to understand kind of what the behind the scenes and also working with language, what that means and what the technical and the relational characteristics, I don't know what word to use, of bringing this into the work. So even when I'm doing work one-to-one with business owners, it's just so much better. The complexity, the deepening of the relationship is so much more valuable and more, you get to trust, a place of trust more quickly when you have language support. And all of these technical issues we're talking about right now apply in these other situations, in physical, day to day, in face to face, in in any kind of communications across the board, bringing multilingual into it requires this type of thinking and planning. And so thank you for sharing your learning. And, I think for the September event, we will apply what we're learning here, right? And thankfully we have this captioning for going forward through through Jay, which is really beautiful.
Yeah, Angela, I think that one of the things too for all you interpreters, especially those of you who've been here from the beginning, you've seen the progression, right? We're in our fourth or fifth one, and how much easier it's gotten. I think that's what's great is the repetition of doing this more than once. I think it allows each of you to do this. I think the next stage really here is let's really reach out for September's program to all these different communities. I would love to see, 30, 40, 50 people of that language here so that your work is even more shared. And we just got to find the ways, I think, to do that. Again, just us having the video of all these. We now have videos of all of your 5 languages, right? And that's something, too, you should really share. I can tell you from my experience, this is still the only meeting I know that really has this much experience with interpretation. And I'm in a lot of Zoom Facebook groups.
Nationally.
Yeah.
John is national.
Internationally.
International.
And so what I'm telling you is that each of you, too, are really ahead of the curve. Most people haven't even tried it. They saw that it existed, but they haven't tried it, if they even know about it at all. So
people are coming to these meetings, as John's, just to tag onto what you're saying, people are registering to participate in these meetings from King County Library, Kirkland, government, and Tacoma public agencies. People are coming here because of their interest in producing something like this and being able to communicate with their communities. This is a format that's valued and starting to be seen.
And was our guest here, Angela?
Yes, she was here. She actually, that was that was Skipta? No, she was from
Rebecca.
Rebecca from. I have to look up where she's from again.
ISRD.
Yeah, she's working on a CID-BIA multi-language program too. That's like open for comment, so that they can have
so ISRD is like building code permitting stuff that people need to build in Chinatown ID. They need to go through a process to get stuff built, or just a signage put on, change the color and all that, because it's a historic district. So Rebecca is trying to learn and see and learn from John, especially how to make it work for interpretations and all that. And I will be supporting her for the interpretation as well, for the Cantonese or Mandarin.
And Levin will be too, I believe.
Yeah, Levin or
same
Tammy.
here. I'm the one that Angela, your name, your phone, your email. So she's the one that contact you, and she sent me an email and she said that John, very knowledgeable, very helpful.
Yeah.
And she said that she attended today, the meeting today, to see what we're doing, and she can learn it from us.
Well, I just want to, can I share screen now, John, y'all, to just my messy screen, but I will show the.
Angela, do you want this section interpreted? We can actually turn it back on and get a recording of this if you like.
Oh, that would be amazing.
So interpreters, I'm going to go ahead and turn back on the interpretation, and then we'll let Angela go.
And I'm just going to try to make this bigger.
Great. If everyone can switch to their language. I'm watching for 1, 2, 3, 4. Fitsum. We're waiting for Fit. There we go. So Angela, you're clear whenever you're ready.
Thank you. So I really wanted to communicate about this training that's coming up for certified producer. It's for BIPOC web producers who are excited about this format where we have multiple channels for language, and also the graphic recording, is a channel. So we are providing a multilingual format that will then, so if you participate in this training opportunity, you will get the full experience of how to do it, practice with it, coaching, and we have, I think we have 5 or 6 seats open. There is a stipend available. The opportunity includes the fee, the registration fee for the training, and also includes opportunity for a stipend. So that you'll receive one of John Chen's books, Engaging Virtual Meetings, and you will also get an opportunity, as it says in the schedule, you look below the lineup of classes to see the additional special opportunity on the 23rd for if a student that wishes to participate in these classes that John is facilitating, they will get an opportunity to lead. Some of that will happen as part of the training as well. So you get an experience in behind the scenes and the technical side of how to run these meetings. Let's see here. I need to change to my next thing, my next document. Hold on one moment while I get rid of that and move to this. I did also want to share about the Essential Southeast Seattle webinar. The page, sorry, is available. All business owners in Southeast Seattle have the opportunity to create their own business profile. Here they go to www.essentialseattle.com, and even if you just go to the main website and scroll to the bottom, there's the buttons that show how to sign up. Then also there's a cohort that we've launched for BIPOC women or immigrant-owned businesses in Southeast Seattle to receive more in-depth technical support, so that in order to get, you'll get assessment of your digital needs, assistance to establish a business profile on the Essential Southeast Seattle website, and assistance with basic in-language training to upload your product photos and information, so to really make sure that profile it works for your customers. And then also we will provide advocacy, one-to-one advocacy, to connect you with other community resources to address any of your small business needs, like funding, market research, sorry, if you have lease negotiation issues, any of those types of needs. Let's see. So now I'm going to come out, I think, of that.
So Angela, like the genesis of that project to the Essential Southeast Seattle project, where was this program started?
So in last March, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of this page to share with you the different groups that are involved. In March last year, Sarah Valenta from Homesite reached out to us. We worked together for different programs like Plate of Nations, and you may have heard of Plate of Nations. And I've worked with Sarah for a long time. She sent out an email and said, hey, we need to do something to serve our small businesses during this shutdown. Who's open? Let's make sure we get those essential businesses in front of shoppers. So we created a directory, and meaning somebody from each one of these organizations is already serving small businesses in their neighborhood. Rainier Ave Business Coalition actually serves from Genesee to Brighton. So from Beacon Hill to Rainier Beach, we've got a representative working to share the contacts and make sure we're finding who's falling through the gap, falling through the cracks, and who's not able to be virtual and get in front of their customers. So we recently received a grant from Comcast to build out this site. This is the site that shows all of the Seattle and beyond, all of the other platforms that are the same, the similar e-commerce, Ballard, Capitol Hill, West Seattle, Pioneer Square, as you can see, also California, Hood River. So the company DEI Creative is the producer of this platform, and so they helped us build out our site. As you get down here to the bottom, you see Africatown is not live yet, but they are live, but they just haven't. See, here we are, Essential Southeast Seattle, and it's live. So that will take you here. And businesses, small businesses that are interested in finding a resource can click on the resource library tab and find, have access to many of the organizations that are providing resources out there. But they can also see our website the page that talks about our cohort. So the digital access cohort is for, like I said, small businesses that that really want that one-to-one support to get online. This is a really beautiful opportunity. It's free to businesses. You can put up any of your 10 photos, so you can show off your product or your service, and people can find your business with this fabulous map. You just go to any one of the districts and you'll see the businesses that are already in here, right? These are the businesses that have already created a profile. There are many more. Can you imagine how many more businesses there are in Southeast Seattle? So why we're working with interpreters and this community liaisons through Department of Neighborhoods is so that we can reach out to those businesses who, would benefit from being here, being visible here. A lot of promotions going out there through multiple channels to promote this website. So that means we're promoting you as a business owner, and if you're here. So
this is free marketing for all of these businesses. So now we have 5 languages that if they can hear this, all they need to do is fill out the form and they will be listed on this site too, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we're about 15 seconds to go. So I'm going to play some music as the rest of our guests join us, and Jennifer Ness will facilitate us into the close. 3, 2, and 1. All right, Jennifer Ness, we got everybody back. We got about 6 minutes for a close. You want to lead us to a close?
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, that just, we were right in the middle of some good conversation.
That's okay.
But this is just the first of many, right? Because we're building this business of community. And so I do want to open it up and let you all know that every Friday morning at 10 o'clock, we have similar conversations around Black-owned business excellence. And if you're interested, I'll put it in the chat, but basically every Friday, 10 o'clock, we meet on Zoom and we talk about similar issues. What's going on with our community? What are the barriers? What are some of the challenges that our Black-owned businesses are facing, and how can we assist them? And so we're doing that. We've been doing it since November, and it's been going amazing. We have some awesome events coming up similar to this, where we're just talking about. Our next one is looking at some alternative ways to finance your business. But don't let this be the end of you building this business of community. What is that?
All right, let's open the channel up. Closing comments for today.
Oh, I wasn't done. It was just some crackling noises. So I was like, what is going on?
My bad, Jennifer. Angela's busily typing along.
Okay. So listen, let's open up the chat. I would love for you all to express in maybe 6 words or less how this was for you. Was it beneficial? Is this something that you see moving forward that you want to be a part of? And who else can you share this information with? Because if we are all over here getting fat on this information and our neighbors are all over here starving, right, and not getting the information, are we really effective, right? So please, in the chat, just talk about what you got from this, what you'd like to see moving forward, and how we can reach additional folks and make sure that the people who need it the most have access to the resources, okay? And so thank you all for being here. We definitely want to establish some goals. You will receive an assessment, a post-assessment, because we want to understand what was the most engaging part of this and what parts we should keep for next time, or which parts we should take out, or should we go in person? Is this virtual, is it good, right? So we want to hear all of those things from you all, because you all are the people who are important. And I just want to say thank you to every single interpreter here. I mean, from the Spanish to the Vietnamese, to the Chinese, to the Amharic. I can't think, I'm sorry, I might be saying that wrong. Amharic. I feel like I'm saying it in that language, okay? And even from the visual interpretations, this what makes this inclusive. We want to make sure that if folks are not able to really follow along in English as quickly or as well as some of the rest of us, that they get it in the language that they understand. So this has been amazing. I do want to highlight Marie, if we can highlight where she is at this point. But you all do know that you will be getting her presentation. Look at that, pretty amazing. You'll be getting her presentation in the follow-up email, all right? Look at that, wowzers. Yes, this is amazing. I love this stuff, okay? So listen, if you have questions, if you have comments, even before you fill out that survey, please reach out to Angela and Jay. Their goal is to make this amazing and to keep it growing and flowing, okay? I'm gonna turn it back over to Angela and Jay.
All right, thank you, Jennifer Ness. This was amazing. We were in the main room. While you were in breakout rooms, we were going through some of the technical issues around making sure interpretation is available. And I feel one of the outcomes of that was recognizing that the technical issues in a virtual space, that we all come together early before this event starts at 9. Everybody needs to know this is a community here, right here, in big time, because even the technical stuff, as we're working through that, we need to be a team.
Mm-hmm.
So the interpreters are part of the team. All of the languages that we're addressing we're all the panelists. We're all part of this team. So and the team means also that we're all aligned in serving the small business community. And what better place to come back to in a virtual space as we move to hybrid and as we move to more open. Again, I guess I just want to make a statement about what I have found in the virtual space as far as community building has been amazing. It's expanded the experience for me in so many ways, and I don't want that to end. So I feel like the Business Resource Open House, and Jennifer was talking, we're all doing some stuff virtually. It's really worth taking that step to move into the virtual space, to be part of community in this way as well. Please reach out and let people know about these events, these virtual events. And if you're timid about being in a virtual space, break through. Come talk to one of us, and we'll help you come into this place.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I'll just say thank you for the opportunity. I have learned so much in today, in all of these open houses that we've done, and check out what John is doing there on the screen. Look at his setup. I mean, it's the amount of learning and the opportunity to learn from y'all and from these programs is just amazing. So I'll just end with that. So thank you for that opportunity.
All right.
Over to you, John. Wrap it up.
Thank you, everyone. Feel free to chat your kudos or thanks. I'll take us out with a little music. If you want to hang out, you can ask Angela or Jay any questions. Otherwise, you're free to log off. Thank you, everybody. Great program. We'll see you at the next open house.